Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. And today I am in Luminar Neo, and I'm going to be talking about 3 essential masking skills that once you learn them, they will absolutely and literally transform your photos. These are 3 masks, 2 that are super simple and straightforward, 1 that I think gets confusing for people, but is actually pretty simple when you kind of focus on the basics of what it does. And these 3 combined in any edit, regardless of the subject, are really going to help you make your subject pop, make your image pop, and give you a lot of control over the light and the color and all that kind of stuff in your photos. Let's take a look. Okay, I'm in this photo from Iceland. Now, I've already done a couple things to the photo. If I open edits, you can see I started with develop raw, and then super contrast, and then erase because there were some spots. And so what this did for me is take a slightly darker photo with spots, and I got rid of the spots and I made it a slightly brighter photo. So now that I've got that, that's kind of my base, kind of 1-2 punch is develop raw and super contrast. And if you've been following my recent videos with the release of light depth in Luminar, you know that that is pretty much always now my 3rd tool, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. In this image, what I want to do is slightly accent the light that's hitting those mountains and kind of that area. So I'm going to go to about a 30 or so. And what I want to do is move this up until I start getting that light in the right area. I want to expand that a little bit. I want to do a little softening, which is going to kind of create a gradient edge. And then I want to keep moving this until I feel like I got the light kind of slightly in that foreground and slightly on the mountains. And you can tell that from the kind of overlay screen here that shows you where that mask is. So something about like that. And if you look at the before and after, I think that looks really good. It's added the light really where I want it to go. But as you probably know with light depth, it does a couple of other things. Actually, it does quite a few other things. But automatically, it does a couple of other things, which is brightness near and brightness far default to -50, which means it's slightly darkened the areas far in the distance and really close in the foreground. So kind of the top and the bottom, which actually is a great thing for a lot of images. And I'm actually going to talk about that here in a second. But if you look at the before and the after, great shape, great way to get started. And even though light depth is kind of a mask, I mean, it does mask the light, but it does it automatically. I didn't create a mask, so that's actually not one of the tools that I'm talking about. And now we're going to go talk about the 3 different tools that I think come into play here. The first one is the ability in develop to come in, and after you've used it the first time, assuming you're shooting a raw file, it's develop raw, there's no masking on that, but after you've used other tools, you can go back to develop and mask again. And for me, one of the most critical masks that give you so much control, and I use all the time, but it's super easy and simple, is a linear gradient. And what I want to do here is actually start in the sky and pull that down, maybe something about like that. And I'm going to take the adjustments and I'm going to drop that exposure. All I'm really doing is just kind of framing the image by slightly darkening the sky. It's kind of like polarizing the sky a little bit. So if you look at the before and the after, it gives a little bit more contrast in the sky, but it also, because it's darkened an area that's generally brighter, the sky, it's creating a little bit more focus on my subject, which of course is Vesterhorn. This was shot in Iceland on one of the Luminar trips. Now, having done that, another thing I like to do is on the same tool, you can go back into masking and get another linear gradient. And I want to do the same thing, but I kind of want to frame the bottom, and I'm going to do that over here. Now, this works anytime on a tool. You can use multiple masks again and again, but just keep in mind, I'm going to be stuck, for lack of a better term, with this same exposure amount. Any of these tools that I use, any of these slider adjustments that I make, if you use 2 masks on the same instance of this tool, develop, then the masks are both going to have this same drop in exposure in this case. Now, for me, that works fine because I think that -0.66 looks good in the sky, right? Sky before, sky after, and then foreground, right? Foreground before and foreground after. But just note that you may sometimes need to use the tool a second time so that you can adjust that amount. Just keep that in mind. But overall, I think a linear gradient, amazing job at framing the photo and helping me set up for success. So that was mask number 1. Now, real quick, before I go any further, I want to play with these colors for one moment. And that's because this orange kind of almost has a little bit of green to it. And I'm talking about the orange here that's hitting Vesterhorn. I don't really like the way it looks. So I'm going to take the orange hue and go a little bit left. And I'm going to take the yellow hue and go a little bit left. And then I'm going to come into luminance and do the same thing with both of them. Slightly darken and slightly enrich the orange color to get further away from the greenish kind of feel that it has. So there it is, a lot more yellow, and there it is now, a lot more orange. I didn't want to play with the colors, I don't want to saturate it, but I do want to control that a little bit, and you will notice that the hue does that really well. And that is because, especially with the yellow, if you go the other direction with the yellow, it approaches green, which is the next color down here, right? So because I went the opposite way, I went left for hue, for yellow, it's getting closer to orange, which is this direction. So it's a powerful way to control colors, and that's primarily the only place that that color is really appearing in this photo, so I don't have to worry about masking it. So before and after, just a little color tip in there to help you out. But anyway, mask number 1 was, of course, the linear gradient. Mask number 2 is going to be used on structure, and that is going to be a radial gradient. And I love these, and they're very simple. All you do is you click and drag, and then you can drag these edges to make it longer. You can grab this top piece to make it broader. You can move this all around. All I'm trying to do is create a little bit more structure and a little bit more emphasis, not just on the mountains, but also on these reflections, because I really want them to pop off the screen. And so that radial mask gives me the ability to do that. Now you might think, hey, I can do that with a brush. Yeah, sure, you can. You can brush that in. It takes a little bit longer. It is a little bit more accurate, but I don't find that using a radial gradient, the fact that some of this is getting slightly covered in the mask because it's in that faded, that gradual transition zone, you know, where the feathering is, doesn't really have a big impact on the overall results. So I often use radial gradients because they just give me the ability to cover a big area in a fairly quick amount of time. And if you look at that, I went to 50 or 49. And if you look at the before and the after, right? Before and after, and it actually shows up a little bit in the sky, but it doesn't look bad. And that gives a little bit more drama to that portion of the sky anyway. So before and after. And so that's why radial gradient is number 2. And in particular with structure, I like to use it with a radial gradient. And I just think it gives you a lot of control and the ability to really kind of focus, for lack of a better term, those edits into certain areas. That's what masking is so great for. And I think radial gradients, that's why they're number 2 in this list of the 3 tools that I think can really have a huge impact. They're just so useful, so applicable, honestly, regardless of which tool you're using over here in the filter stack. So far we've got a pretty nice edit. Before and after, I think the photo is really starting to pop. And one of the things I like to do at the end of my edit is accent AI. I love coming in and giving a photo a bit of oomph, for lack of a better word. The thing is, it obviously, without a mask, it's impacting the entire photo. And it doesn't actually look that bad there, but it can get over the top pretty quickly if you're not careful. And so I like to use accent AI with a mask, and I like to do that towards the end of my edit. And the mask in particular, that's my favorite kind of mask, you've probably guessed it already, that is a luminosity mask, and that is because it's a mask built on tonal values. So it gives you the ability with this little slider here to identify specific tonal areas that you want to cover with the mask, and then gradually fade them into other tonal areas to get a nice smooth transition and a beautiful overall edit and look to the application of this tool. So I'm going to do something like that, which is it's highlights on this end, it's shadows on the other end, and I've got a nice fade on either side, and I might actually just scoot that a little bit. I think something about like that looks really nice. Now, if you're not familiar with masking and want to learn a whole lot more about masking, do note that I have a Luminar Neo Masking Masterclass. It's available at the link below, and it's on special for a while during the holidays, and it has been for a couple of weeks. Many of you have picked it up, so thank you for that. I hope it's helping a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and use that as my mask here for luminosity mask, and now my adjustments are a lot more contained. If you look at the before and the after, it's not applying to the whole photo, and in fact, because it's not applying to the entire photo, I can actually go a little bit higher. So I'll even go as high as 50, which without a mask, 50 is a lot, I think, for accent AI, but with the mask, nicely contained before and after, before and after. It's even having a little bit of an impact on some of the mountains here, which I think complements what we've done. And so that mask is, I think, critical in terms of being able to really control the tones and the overall look of your photo. So if you take linear gradient, radial gradient, and luminosity mask, with just those 3, you have so much power and so much control, and it really gives you the ability to customize the look of your photo and kind of own it, for lack of a better term, without letting the software take over. You're in control. You're in the driver's seat. You have the wheel. Pick your analogy, whatever it is. But if you look at the before and the after, the ability to come in and control that with simple things, linear gradient, radial gradient, luminosity mask, makes a huge difference. And that's why those 3 masking tools, I think, are essential for helping you control your image and getting better edits. Hope this gives you some good ideas, things to think about. If you join my newsletter at the link below, you get a whole bunch of free presets and a free editing guide for Luminar Neo. And I send out tips like this in my newsletter every week. Feel free to join if you're interested. And I'll be back soon with more videos. You guys take care. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you soon. And until next time, adios.